Hi again. I guess today we're going to go back and finish the subsection of the law because there is so much to cover in that subsection or subchapter. There's more to it though. But anyway, there's a law. Actually, there's a law in math. In math, 1 plus 1 equals 2. Well, 1, well, say you've got 1 here. My left is 1 bad. It's a negative 1. And the right is a positive 1. Well, in math, negative 1 plus 1 equals 0. It cancels itself out. Now, negative 1 plus 2 would equal 1. So, now let's say that that a negative confession, speaking something negative, is a negative 1. And speaking something positive is a positive 1. Like sickness is a negative 1, and healing would be a positive 1 each time you speak it. Now in mathematics, normally it would be you're speaking the negative 1. Okay, negative 1 plus 1 equals 0, right? Then normally you would stop speaking the negative, and then you'd have 0 plus 1 equals 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2, and all that. And normally. But now back in the spirit realm as Christians. Well, I used to know a guy who would say every time you speak healing, you've got to speak the sickness, tell why you need the healing. That makes no sense at all. That's speaking negative 1 every time you want to speak a positive 1. So you always wind up with 0. I mean, what good is that? Why speak a negative 1 every time you want to speak a positive 1? You're getting 0. So speak negative 1 once, then quit it. Then tell God the need for the healing. Then tell the need the reason that you're healed. Tell him the reason, or tell of the solution, which is the positive 1. Then each time you speak of the positive 1, don't speak of the negative 1 anymore. Just speak of the positive. And you'll grow and grow in the positive. I also know someone who said I don't believe in positive speaking. Well, in positive confession. Well, that's because he has been confessing the negative all his life. And that has worked so much. And he's rooted and grounded in the negative. Then he decides, okay, well, I'll try this positive speaking once. He tries it once, nothing happens, so he never does it again. Well, would you expect it to happen? I'm negative 1. You're at negative. He was at negative 120,000. 120,000. Speaking positive once, what difference is that going to make? None. You've got to speak the positive enough times, and no more negatives to alleviate it, to rectify the situation. But now this is a very interesting point. It's not found it's not in mathematics, but when you're speaking the positive ones all the time, you've got 1, 2, 3. 1 negative 1 can wreck the whole thing, can take you back down to 0. Don't ask me why. I don't know and I can't tell you. I just tell you it works. So it's happened to me many times. Each time I would find myself, I would live a life of speaking the positives. Well, because I've spoken the negatives for so long, but then I'm starting speaking positives all my life. Well, I probably started speaking the negatives for 20, 21 years, 22 years. Then I started speaking the positive. Well, it's been 22 years, but when I start speaking when I speak one negative again, it takes me all the way back to the beginning. And I've got to start over, speak the positive again and again and again. One negative, way back in the beginning. Start over again. And don't speak the negative because it'll take you back in the beginning again. That's weird, but it's truth. So when you speak to... What I really didn't like this one time. I was at a church and the speaker asked for any praise reports. So I stood up and said, I'm healed by the stripes that Jesus bore on his back. I am healed. And after service, he asked me, what's wrong? It's like, why does there have to be anything wrong? And why should I speak the negative before I speak the positive? That's ridiculous. So I just said, why can't you just praise God with me that I am healed? Instead of asking me the problem. I've already told God the problem. Now I want to focus on the solution, not the problem. So you're going to focus on what you speak. If you speak the negative, that's where your focus is going to be. But if you turn to speak the positive, that's where your focus is going to be. And how many times does it take? How many times do you have to speak the positive to rectify the situation? Hey, your guess is as good as mine. There was one report I one time heard. A guy said, I've been speaking these positives for 10 years. Why hasn't anything happened? Well, I've got a question for him. Why did you stop speaking it? You speak the positive 10 years. Well, you probably spoke the negative for at least 10 years. And, well, so it's not going to happen overnight. You've got to speak it and speak it and speak it. And it's going to happen eventually. It might take your whole life. But if you're speaking the positive and no more negatives, you're speaking the positive, it's going to happen sometime in your life. Jesus said, you who have left father and mother and all this, you will receive 100-fold in this lifetime. He didn't say it was going to be right away. He said in this lifetime. You will also be persecuted for it. But don't let the persecution drag you down. Just keep on speaking the positive. Keep on speaking the positive. You'll get there. I don't know when, but you'll get there. God bless, and I'll see you next time.